Spanish was my worst subject in high school. And the reason was because I didn't study. And as a snot-nosed adolescent, I figured, why do I need to learn Spanish? What I didn't realize was that when I first started practicing medicine, that I would be dealing with a lot of Hispanic patients. So when I started working in Cherokee County in northern part of Georgia, I had a bunch of patients that didn't speak English. And I was surprised with some of them that they could not understand a single word I was saying. It took me a good long while to understand that some of the patients, they didn't speak Spanish either. I had patients from Guatemala that spoke an Indian dialect. And I learned a lot through that process of taking care of these patients. I had one patient from Guatemala who, sadly, when we did an ultrasound, had something called Meckel-Gruber syndrome, which is a fatal anomaly. It was something that the baby could not possibly survive. So we transferred the patient to a different facility early in the pregnancy. Interestingly, the patient kept coming back, even though we knew that the baby would die. And eventually, she actually went to labor when I was on call. It was a very long labor. It was a very difficult labor. And finally, the baby delivered, and the baby actually died in my hands. And since the patient didn't speak any Spanish, the only person that we had that could translate for the patient was her 11-year-old niece. And her niece was there, and we would tell her to push, and then we would tell her what she needed to do. And then when the baby died, the niece in this Indian dialect from Guatemala had to tell her that the baby had died. It was very sad. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand why the patient decided to go through all of that when she knew from early in pregnancy that the pregnancy would not survive. 3 years later, though, I was in the delivery room with a now 14-year-old girl and her aunt, and she was pregnant this time with a healthy pregnancy. And I remember when the baby came out, and this was a healthy baby, and everything was very quiet in the delivery room, and then the baby started to cry. And the little girl, now 14 years old, she didn't say anything, and she just had tears running down her eyes. And the mom did too. And sometimes in life, you don't need a translator. We understand what's going on no matter what the language is. So sometimes the pain of life is what we need to understand the beauty of life. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to my channel. You know, YouTube things.